Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel that takes you deep inside the San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Jack Hammer, and we have another update regarding 49ers defensive end, Nick Bosa. The reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year in the 49ers, still locked in their contract negotiation. That has still not been done. We received another update on this today, courtesy of Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated. This is what Breer had to say about Nick Bosa and the 49ers trying to meet in the middle, as right now the two are about $4 million apart in negotiations. We can start with Nick Bosa, who isn't going anywhere for a long time. The question is whether he's going to be the highest paid non-quarterback of all time. He'll be the highest paid edge rusher. The difference between the two distinctions is less than $4 million per year, and the Niners and Bosa's people have been trying to bridge that gap for a while now. They have an artificial deadline coming, the start of the season, and at some point something has to get done. It's not when, it's not if, it's when. So you go look, you read through this, and look, the 49ers, according to Albert Breer and Nick Bosa, are less than $4 million apart. And the difference here is Nick Bosa going to be the highest paid edge rusher in the NFL, or the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL? Well, the 49ers are notorious for doing this kind of thing. It's one of the reasons that things went a little askew back when they did the George Kittle deal. They tried to do this whole, best at this number, this type of thing. Well, they didn't really pay attention to where that market was going and the changes that were taking place in that market. They did the same thing with Deebo Samuel a year ago, which led to the contract negotiations becoming public, and a lot of back and forth between Deebo Samuel and the 49ers is more on Deebo Samuel's side in terms of where he wasn't happy with what he was being presented by the 49ers. And you're seeing it now here. And Nick Bosa, he is the 49ers' most important defensive player. Actually, he's probably the 49ers' most important player when it comes to winning the Super Bowl, aside from the quarterback, Brock Purdy. The 49ers need to get this done. $4 million per year is a lot of money. We're looking at a five-year deal, $4 million per year over 5 years. That's $20 million. If you do it over 6 years, it's $24 million. But when you look at the overall number compared to where the 49ers are and what they spend on a regular basis, the 49ers can get this deal done if they want. They can figure out ways, along with Bosa, to give him the $4 million that he's looking for, and at the same time making it work for their cap. This is just the 49ers doing what they do, which is jerking their players around until they have to make the deal. They do this all the time. And the difference here is that Nick Bosa isn't like these other guys. And this is why Nick Bosa's contract this whole discussion might take into the regular season. Because Nick Bosa doesn't need the 49ers. I say this a lot of times on this channel. Nick Bosa doesn't need to play for the 49ers. He already is financially set. He's already living fine in Florida. His family does a good job of managing their money. Nick Bosa does not need the 49ers. He does not need to step on the field for the 49ers to have a good rest of his life. But what Nick Bosa knows is that he knows what his value is. He knows his worth. And unless the 49ers match his worth or what he feels he's worth, he's not going to sign with them. There were reports this week, just yesterday, that the 49ers and Bosa were hammering out details of the contract, that Bosa was in San Francisco and the expectation was they'd be able to get this deal done. We're only $4 million apart here. Get it done. Nick Bosa is that important to your team. Give him $4 million more and figure out how to make it work on your cap. If you're serious about winning the Super Bowl, get it done. Because you're not going to win the Super Bowl if you have Drake Jackson and Clelin Ferrell as your defensive ends. No disrespect to either one of those two. Drake Jackson, he's okay. Clelin Ferrell, he's okay. Together, they're going to be pretty good. I think opposite of Nick Bosa. But as those two, having just those two as your starting edge rushers, that's not a Super Bowl defense in San Francisco. It's a good defense, but it's not a Super Bowl defense. You need to get Nick Bosa, and you need to get him signed. And like I said, right now, according to Albert Breer, the 49ers and Nick Bosa are about $4 million apart annually in their negotiations. Get it done. This guy is too important to your team to not. And, you look through the history here with Bosa, you look through the history with the 49ers and the Bosa family, the Bosas, you know, this is all about the guarantee. I know they're saying that's $4 million, but a lot of that is the guaranteed piece of that as well. That's the whole reason why Joey Bosa held out as long as he did his rookie season. It wasn't because of the amount of money he was going to get, but it was about how he was going to get paid those guarantees. And I can guarantee you that when it comes to Nick Bosa and his contract, it's about the guarantees. It's about knowing that he's going to get paid a certain amount of money up front, guaranteed. Not to say up front, but he's guaranteed that he's going to get a certain number throughout the course of his career with this new deal. So the 49ers are going to have to dig their pockets into their pockets here. I think, you know, Jed York, sharpen your pencil. Parag Marathe, get out of the way and let the guys make the decisions that need to make the decision here. This is kind of like, again, this is similar to the Trent Williams deal, I think, a couple of years ago, where Trent Williams and the 49ers were in a contract negotiation. And Trent Williams was almost a Kansas City Chief. And the reason that Trent Williams was almost a Kansas City Chief that year was because Parag Marathe didn't want to give him what he was worth. If you remember how that deal got done, it was Trent Williams going to Kyle Shanahan saying, hey man, I want to be with you, and these guys need to figure it out. This is how much I'm going to take. If it's not there, I'm going to Kansas City. And then Kyle Shanahan stepped in and they got the deal done. I think that's what needs to happen here. Kyle Shanahan needs to step in and he needs to get his guy done. And Kyle Shanahan might not have that attaché right now with the 49ers because of the deal that just went down with Trey Lance, right? Because they used 3 first-round picks to trade up to get Trey Lance, and then here you are now with Lance, $27 million later in guaranteed money, a Dallas Cowboy. You just lost 3 first-round picks and a 3rd-round pick. So maybe some of the reason that we're seeing this is because maybe what's happening is Jed York is saying, no, I'm not going in that direction. You're my coach, but I'm not going to listen to you fully right now because I need to put you in the corner for a little bit so that we can make sure that this deal gets done and it gets done the way that we want it to be done. Now, is that the way to do it? I don't think so. Kyle Shanahan, part of the reason the 49ers are so good is that Kyle Shanahan knows the types of players that he wants. John Lynch knows the type of players that he wants. The two together work well, and then on top of that, that helps their scouting department know what they're looking for. And Nick Bosa is exactly what the 49ers want. Nick Bosa is exactly what the 49ers need if they're going to make the Super Bowl this year and win it. They're not a Super Bowl team without Nick Bosa. They're a good team. They're a strong team. They're not a Super Bowl team. They're not going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles in an NFC Championship game in Philadelphia or in San Francisco if they don't have Nick Bosa on the field. So there you have it. The latest update on Nick Bosa, according to Albert Breer, is that Bosa and the 49ers are trying to meet in the middle. The two are right now about $4 million apart. And you're seeing these reports come out. And the other part of this is that starting to become where it's not the team's trying to, the team is now starting to put some stuff out there because they want to make it look like it's the player's fault. They want to put pressure on the player. This is where they start to put pressure on the player. This is where the fans start to get upset and blame the player for not being in, start to say we don't need that guy, all those types of things. Trust me, they needed to get done. And Nick Bosa needs to be a member of this 49ers team if they're going to be in the Super Bowl this year. There you have it. Take it for what it's worth. I hope you like what you see. If you could, please, before you leave, hit the like button. After you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We're almost at 10,000. Help us get there. And then last but not least, turn on your notifications. You don't want to miss any of the updates right here on Inside the 49ers with Jack Hammer. And who knows, the next update might be Nick Bosa signing his extension with the San Francisco 49ers. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be talking with you soon.